Hello and welcome. This is the first episode of Nomifactory Gregtech Community Edition unofficial. And we are going to take on Gregtech in this modpack, which has a lot of other tech mods which plays together, and it has a creative endgame that I really want to get to. I've gotten as far as EV in the Gregtech progression. If you don't know what that is, it's about the 4th tier, as there's no Steam tier in Nomifactory, at least not in the normal edition. And we want to get to the last tier and to the creative items this time, but we will do that down the line. And I hope you enjoy this first episode. I've never posted anything before, so this is new for me. Bear with me that it's not the best produced series on YouTube, but I hope you enjoy anyway. We obviously start off by punching some trees. This pack can be played on all difficulties, but it's also built around the ability to play it on peaceful, and I choose to do it like this because I feel like it's the most fun and you get to focus solely on the tech of the mod pack. In Nomifactory, they give us some tools we can use for mining the initial resources, but it isn't enough to get all the resources we need, but it's nice to have for a start. We start in the Lost Cities dimension, and we can raid a lot of stuff in these buildings, and later on we will mine up the terracotta as well, because we can use that to electrolyze clay, but we'll get to that later. We'll take some anvils too, as we will need those for forge hammers later. I'll set up a little starter setup here, but eventually we want to move into the void dimension as it's way easier to expand in there. I went out looking for a rubber tree and found one here. This will become very important later because we want this sticky resin. With the starting items we got from the quest book, we got this electric scanner which can scan for ores in this interface, and you can choose which ore to focus on, and it will show these big patches. In Gregtech, ores spawn in patches, so you will get a lot of them if you mine the right place, but you will have to go to that specific vein to get a lot of what you want. I want to start with finding a lot of iron, and that's magnetite here. That's one of the iron types. We can also just go for the iron, but we're actually on top of an iron vein, so I think I'll start with doing that. We finally hit the vein, and it looks like we also have some copper here, which we will use in large quantities, so that's pretty lucky. I found a redstone vein, and I mined out about a stack of that, and got some other ores, ruby ore and this one. No, ruby ore and another ore. I think it's cinnabar, yeah. So I'll keep getting some resources and I'll be right back. Now that we have a bit of starting resources, we can begin crafting some tools. This wrought iron I have here you get by smelting up iron once more, and it's pretty good for making tools, and we will also need it for making some basic machines. Later on we will also smelt it once again in a blast furnace to get steel. I'll start off by crafting a hammer. Then we can craft up a mortar. We can craft up plates with 2 wrought iron and the hammer, and then make a file. With the file we can make 2 of these iron rods, and we can make up a screwdriver somehow. We'll need a saw, which is 2 more plates. And we should also make this the wire cutter. The only difficult part, or tedious, is these screws. But you get those by filing down some iron rods, cutting those rods into iron bolts, and then once again filing into screws. We need 2 more rods, 3 plates, and then we should be able to make the last tool, the wire cutter. Oh, and of course we will need to make the wrench as well, which I think is like this. Yep. From the quest rewards you get these Nomi nickels, which you can use to make into pennies or dollars or quarters, and you can use these to get different ores that you don't want to mine, because it will become tedious to mine them after some time. And you can also get a lot of rubber tree saplings if you don't drop enough from the trees. We have quite a few resources now, and we can start working on the next quest. It calls for some copper dust, and we need to mix that with some redstone to get some alloys. And the same is true for the iron dust, which is needed for conductive iron. So I'll start working on that now. We need some copper dust, and I need to find my iron right here. We'll make some iron dust. The copper dust we need to make into red alloy dust, and the iron dust is 1-to-1 into conductive iron. And those counted, so we will smelt these into their respective bars. I might actually start upgrading these furnaces because they are very slow, so I'll just pick them all up and upgrade them into iron, into copper. I think we have enough silver if we look in the chests, and gold. Maybe also diamond. And we can upgrade them to gold. They should be much faster now. And if we take a look, these are like 10 times quicker and can hold a lot more stuff, so that's very nice. We will automate these later when we have some conduits. We now need to make 8 red alloy plates and cut them into wires, and the same for conductive iron ingots we will make into wires. We do this by first hammering them down to alloy plates and then cutting them. If I can find my wire cutter, should be in here. We can cut them into wires. Same with the conductive iron ingots. Make them into plates and into wires. That should be the quest. Obviously not, because we didn't complete the red alloy plate quest because we didn't have it in our inventory. So we'll need to go mine some more redstone. Actually we have enough here. We'll just need to smelt it up and make more red alloy plates, but it's fine, we will need a lot of this red alloy wire anyways. We'll make 8 more red alloy plates and make sure to have it in our inventory and close the inventory, then it will complete. Next order of business is to get these conductive iron energy conduits and we need conduit binder for this. So I'll go out and grab some gravel, sand and clay and make it into conduit binder. We can make these excavators out of diamond because we have quite a bit of diamond, and that will do a 3x3 when digging through dirt, sand and gravel. I made some conduit binder, and we can make some of this into iron energy cables. We will also need some redstone conduits for later use in a sugarcane farm. I'll just craft up a little bit more. We can make an infinite water source. We will also need some fluid conduits. For those who haven't played Nomifactory, all these quests leads to the steam dynamo, which we will be powering with a snat sugarcane farm. It takes a while to set it up, but I will work towards it. For cutting down trees more easily, we want this iron axe from Gregtech, which should be able to cut down the whole tree at once, and actually multiple trees if they are near enough to each other. So that's pretty nice. I think the next thing we want to do is make this primitive blast furnace, which will make us a lot of steel pretty quickly from wrought iron. And we want this pretty soon and keep it running because we need a lot of steel for low voltage. We need brick dust, which we will just yoink from here. I don't know how much we need, but we will just get a bunch. A stack of each dust should be enough. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it should definitely be enough. Oh shit, I didn't realize it would be that much. We'll see how many blast furnaces we can make with this. The quest says we need 32 fire bricks, but I think we actually need 33 because we need one for the controller as well, so we'll just make a bunch. We might actually have enough here for 2 primitive blast furnaces, which would be great. For the controller we just need some rods and some screws and a single plate. I crafted up the iron items we needed for the blast furnace, and I actually crafted enough to make 2 controllers because we have quite a bit of bricks. I think we'll put it here. It's just a 3x3x4. Oh, that doesn't go there. And the nice thing with these blast furnaces is that you can wall share the machines, so we don't need quite as much bricks for the second blast furnace, because this wall here is shared. And these two should work. Yeah, they do. I don't know why I crafted up this many fire bricks, but we might as well make a 3rd blast furnace. There we go. We have 3 blast furnaces. Now we just need some wrought iron and the charcoal to fuel them. Look at them go. It's beautiful. We already had some steel from a chest, but this is the first steel we made ourselves, and I'm so proud. I'm just over on another island where I'm grabbing a lot of spruce wood that we will make into charcoal so we can fuel our blast furnaces. 3 stacks should be enough for now. Our next task is to craft the first circuit of many circuits, and for this we need these components: resistors, vacuum tubes and these circuit boards. It's a lot of copper when you don't have the good recipes, but we will have to make do with this until we get the machines to make it cheaper. We'll just make a bunch of copper wire as we'll need it. We'll also need the fine copper wire for the circuit boards, which is copper hammered down to plates and then hammered down to coils, or foil, sorry, and then you wire cut it into fine copper wire. I think we'll start off with 2 circuits, and then when we get more resources and some machines to make the recipes cheaper, we will make a bulk of them. The vacuum tubes require glass panes, a lot of glass panes. To make these glass tubes, it needs our first steel made into, oh sorry, it's this one, rods, and then into bolts. I think that's everything we need for these. Can we only make 2? Oh, we need more bolts. That's no problem. Like that. And then we should be able to craft up 4 vacuum tubes. The last part is these resistors, which needs sticky resin, paper, and coal dust. We need 4 of those as well, so we'll need 4 coal dust. Charcoal works too. And we can make, oh, the recipe makes 2, so we can make 6. We'll just make them all. That's the subcomponents for the circuit. I don't know what else we need for it. It's probably this quest line with the rubber, but that should be easy enough. That's just sticky resin hammered down. And it runs these red alloy cables, 12 of them, but I think we should have it. We have 2 here. We need a bit more. I think we'll make 16. Sounds good. Can we do it like this? No, we need the dust. Like that. And then we can smelt it up. Like so. Make them into plates. And we won't make them all because we will need these red alloy plates, so we'll make as much as the quest requests. Of course we broke our wire cutter on the last craft, so we only have 11, so we will have to make up another one of those. And I don't think we have any more wrought iron, so we'll smelt up some wrought iron and be right back. We quickly got enough wrought iron to make another iron cutter, wire cutter, and we can maybe make the last red alloy wire, and we will need a lot more of these rubber sheets as well. I think I have more resin here. Then we can wrap these cables in rubber to make them insulated, like so. And that should complete the quest. And now the quest opened for our first electronic circuit, or our first 2. We'll need all the components we made, which we obviously have, and then we'll need 2 steel plates, which should be easy to craft up. And we should be able to make our 2 first circuits. The next thing we will do is to craft up these steam dynamos, which we will burn sugarcane in to get some power, not a lot, but enough for the starting machines. For these excitation coils, we will need to go grab some more gold to make these rods. I grabbed some gold down in the mines, which should be enough for 3 excitation coils. Oh, actually we need 6, I think. We will make 3 iron furnaces. We can also make the gears. And again, I miscalculated. We need 6, of course. We will craft up 3 more gears. We need 6 copper plates. We gathered a bit more redstone, so now we should have enough to make the last coils we need for the dynamo. The coils we craft up with silver rods and redstone, and we get these transmission coils, and that should be everything. I'll bring some cobblestone, a lot of cobblestone actually, and I will make a chisel and a building wand. Or you can't make building walls in this. Then I will just make a chisel. To build out the platform in the void world, we will be using effortless building. And this upgrade here, you just make with a stick and a string. And this makes your reach that you can do with the effortless building mod increase to 50. I think in this mod pack, the storage drawers actually keep their inventory by default, which is very nice. This means we can bring all our cobblestone with us into the void world and make a platform quite easily. Here in the void world, we will have to carefully think about how we make our platforms. We want to show the chunk boundaries and make platforms that follow these chunk boundaries, so we never make a multi-block across chunk boundaries, since that can make them do some funky things that we don't want. If you hold down left alt, you can choose your effortless building mode. If I choose line here, I can left click, extend, and then left click again, and it will build a line. The reason that we're choosing to go with 2 of the cobblestone boundaries outside of the chunk and 2 inside is because we will be making an internal 15 by 15, and it's always really nice in Minecraft to have an uneven platform so that you can have a center. I really like that, at least. If we go into the effortless building menu, we can choose floor, and again we should be able to make quite a big flat platform very easily. We could almost fill out the entire platform just with 1 or 2 clicks. In this case we didn't have enough cobblestone to do it, but otherwise we would have been able to build it all at once, which is very powerful. We now have a platform centered around this block, where we should be able to set up some automations and easily extend with a mod that is called building gadgets, where we will have a copy paste gadget which isn't that expensive, and we can use that to just copy the platform and then pasting another one besides it, which is a very easy and quick way to expand your base. Once we get a bit more resources, I will try to do a bit more base building instead of just flat platforms, but for now that is what we are going to do. I'll break some of these storage crates, let the items spill out, and move them into the void. We'll tear down the blast furnaces, which have already made us quite a few steel ingots, which we are going to tear through soon. We have now moved most of our stuff into the void world, everything besides the tree farm. And my plan is to have my smelting set up here, powered by a sugarcane farm, which we will put about here, maybe extend the platform a little and put it here. And that will also power our Gregtech machines once we get those. To get SNAD, we need 2 double compressed sand blocks, and we only have enough to make 1. So we will need to go out and grab a lot of sand. I dug enough sand for 2 SNAD, which will be good enough to start with, but we will probably have to expand at some point. To get the SNAD to work and work very fast, we need to get this whetstone sensor filter, which is a lot of paper and red alloy ingot, and this whetstone comparator. But we have a lot of nether quartz from just breaking down the Lost Cities buildings, so we should have some nether quartz in here somewhere. Yeah, right here we have 32 blocks of quartz, which we can just turn into nether quartz. I'll start off by making another 16 red alloy ingots, and I will need to set up the furnaces again. For the paper, we will just break down some bookshelves to get books and craft them into paper, which is the easiest way to get it. I just random teleported to get here, and it seems like we landed a nice space in a desert where we can get unlimited almost sand, so that's very nice when we want to expand. I might actually excavate some now already, just to finish the farm completely at once, instead of doing it later. In the desert I could quite easily excavate enough sand to make 4 more SNAD. We only need 3 more, but I made 4 because we got so much sand. We need 5 pistons to harvest the sugarcane, some more conduits to activate the pistons. We need some observers, 5 to be exact. We have enough to craft 2 filters, or bases at least. We have enough to make 2 redstone sensor filters, which isn't quite enough, but it's a good start. We can put them into these redstone conduits, and it should make the block activate a lot, which will make the sugarcane grow very fast. So we'll see if it works. Yeah, the sugarcane grows very fast. It seems like the filter make the sugarcane besides it grow very fast as well. So if we place them tactically, we might be able to get them all to grow. Yeah, so if we place them in the second one and the 4th one, it makes all the sugarcane grow fast. So we only needed 2. I didn't know that, but that's a nice discovery. We place the pistons like so. The observers is placed on top, so they break it when the sugarcane is fully grown, and they need to be faced like this. I set up the sensors, connected them to the pistons with these redstone connectors, And the only thing I changed was to make this output signal red strong. It's by default input signal color red, but I changed this side here on each and every one of them, and then disconnected them from each other. They automatically connect. And this produces sugarcane very fast. So we will need to set up a collection point. At some point we want to use a vacuum hopper, but we don't quite have the resources for that yet. So for now we will want to put a hopper here, which will catch some of the sugarcane but not all of it. Hoppers are obviously not the standard recipe. We will need a small gear and some iron plates and a chest to make it, but it's definitely worth the effort. I made the small gear and the plates, so we should have the required items. No, we need a wrench, which we have here, and then we have the required items for a hopper, and we should also make a storage drawer to put the sugarcane into. So if we put the hopper here, and we will obviously have something to block the water here. Put a storage drawer here. This should be a finished sugarcane farm once we close it up, of course. For now, I've turned down the volume quite a bit on the game because the piston sounds are very annoying. But at some point we could get some kind of muffler, which should... Well, this is kind of easy to make. This should be able to muffle the sound if we have enough wool. We might have, you know... It's a good thing I picked up these cobwebs. They'll come in handy now. We have enough wool. And we have a redstone here. So we should actually be able to make this. If we place this down here. And blacklists. Piston contract. And piston extent. Then we can't hear the pistons, and we should also do the splash, so we don't hear the sugarcane splash into the water. That's an annoying sound too. We should probably close this as well, because there's a lot of sugarcane landing here. And as you can see, this has been running for 5 minutes, and we're already up to 700 sugarcane, so this produces it very fast, and it's a good early source of fuel for the steam dynamo and also the furnaces here. We're now ready to set up these steam dynamos. At first we will feed them with sugarcane manually because we don't have any item conduits, but once we get item conduits we'll just pump out the sugarcane from here. Now that I think about it, I want to move these forward 1 block to here. The reason I set them up in this formation is that you can get augments for it, which will make this one a boiler and these 2 turbines, which will give quite a bit more IF, but we need the alloy furnace for that to make an alloy that is needed in the augment. And I'll also move forward this. This we can pump into these cables and move it along. And then I want to build another platform right here where we can have our Gregtech machines. With effortless building, it's so easy to extend your platform. And I went with another block palette because I don't like this pattern here. I much more prefer when the blocks connect and you have a clear outline here. Next thing we need to do is to craft up this energy converter, which can make RF into Gregtech power. And here we will need to use a circuit and make this machine hull, which requires a lot of steel when you don't have the machines, because each plate is 2 steel bars, which is 16, 18 here, and you need some tin cabling as well. Here you need 4 times tin cables. You can go with a larger energy converter, but I think we'll start with a 4 amp, since we don't have the RF to make more. So that will work fine, but when we get a blast furnace, we will need a bit more amps, or just craft up another one of these and make a dedicated line for the blast furnace. We have a situation here where we are overflowing on Sugarcane already because the drawer is already full. So we will have to make some upgrades, which we obviously don't have enough wood for. We will cut down one of these giant trees, that should be enough. It's raining logs. And then you probably can get some diamond upgrades. And this should make it store a lot of sugarcane. Let's see how much can it store. It will be able to store 2048 stacks before it's full. It will definitely fill up if we don't start using it, but at that point we should hopefully have obsidian, a white upgrade, so it won't be a problem. After mining quite a bit of redstone, we can throw it into here, and the diamond furnaces will quickly take care of that. I don't know if I need more copper. We might do... we only have 12 pieces. I think I'll go mine some more, because don't think that will be enough. We should have enough materials now to make this energy converter. And now we only need the circuit, which we have made, and this machine hull, which is thus 2 tin cables and a shit ton of steel. And we should be able to make it now if we grab this circuit. And that's the energy converter. So now we are able to make Gregtech power with this setup. But it's not fun to make Gregtech power if you don't have any machines, so that's what we will be working on next. This is just a lot of read this to not get hurt and to not explode your items. But I have read this multiple times, so we won't be reading this. It says that you need to be careful with amps so that you don't burn your cables, and if you put a low voltage machine on a medium voltage line, it will explode and destroy items around it, so you need to be careful with that. To safely transfer power at low voltage, we will make the superconductor, which is conductive iron. Or that's one of the superconductors. You can also make the manganese phosphide wire, but that's a whole nother level of complicated crafts. It's needed for... yeah, it's needed later in the game, but we don't have to worry about that now. We will just make this and do the wiring with this. The advantage with the superconductor wires is that you don't need to coat them. You can walk on them. They don't hurt you, and they don't have any EU loss. Other cables do, and they are very easy to make. It's just iron and whetstone, like this. Iron dust, whetstone, cook it up, and you have it. And you need to make sure to have the same size cable as your energy converter, otherwise the cables will burn if the machines pull more amperages than this cable can pull. So as long as you have a 4 amperage converter here and you have cables that are 4 times or larger, you will be fine. The next milestone is to get this basic wire mill, which requires 2 circuits and a lot of these motors. What this will do for us is it will make crafting wires 4 times as efficient as doing it by hand, which will be a gigantic upgrade. So we will be striving for that as soon as possible. I crafted up a hull, which you have seen me craft before. We still need another circuit and these motors. The motors shouldn't be too bad. It just requires a lot of materials. The circuit is a little worse, but we should be able to make it. We have serious inventory management issues, and there will be a while before we get an digital storage system, in this case AE2. So that's not until medium voltage. And this should be the circuit, and we need these motors. That will mean 16 fine copper wire, which we have. 4 times 4 is 16. We need 4 times 3, 12 iron rods. We should have some iron cooked up here. 12 is exactly. I didn't plan that, but that is nice. 12 rods. 4 of them should be magnetic, which you just do with whetstone before you have the polarizer. Can we make 4? We can make 4 motors, and we can make the wire mill. Nice, very cool. Didn't hold the motors for long enough, so it didn't count. But we have the wire mill. I'll make up 4 more motors off screen to get it to complete here, but it will be way easier with the wire mill. We'll remember to fill up these steam dynamos. 5 seconds later, or a minute later, we have so much wire, and some of it, let's do 16, we can just put in on a circuit of 1 again, and it will make it into fine copper wire. And it's 4 to 1, so it's just so much better than the other ratios. And this is the advantage of using the machines over manual crafting, and it will only get better and faster from here, but it will also get more complex. To get the machines, you will need way more materials and harder to get materials, and it's just a lot of nested crafting, and it will be quite tedious and difficult in the start before we get a AE system, but it's also part of the charm and fun to do it like this, and I enjoy it, so that's what's important. I crafted enough materials for more electric motors, which we will definitely use, so it's no problem that I have to craft off more. The next quest is to make this alloy smelter, which will give us the ability to make conduits, which will make this an automated system. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll work on that, and that will probably be the last thing we do this episode. I don't know if you can hear it, but this machine is pretty loud, and unlike the sugarcane farm, you can actually mute this just by right clicking with a normal hammer. We are about to craft up the machine hull for this, and we might as well craft up a couple of machine hulls, because this game is all about bulk crafting, and if you don't do that, you will have a hard time getting through it. Yeah, we'll craft up 2 or 3 of these and get going. And we should be able to make 2 hulls, because we will need more LV machines, so we might as well make 2 at once. Last thing we need is 4 times copper wires, and we have exactly enough for this, so this is pretty lucky. And we should be able to make the ally furnace. I know I said this would be the last thing we did, but I really want to automate the diamond furnaces and these steam dynamos before we call it quits. So I'll see about making some item conduits and get this automated, and I'll update you soon. To get the pulsating iron for the item conduits, we will need this ore called uraninite, and we need to smelt that down twice to get something called pulsating powder, which we can smelt with iron in an alloy smelter into pulsating iron ingots. And that's because they want you to be able to play in peaceful without having to kill endermen. And I really enjoy this feature because I just want to do tech. I don't want to kill a bunch of monsters and boss fights and shit. I just want to make my factory grow. With this pulsating dust and the last of our iron, we'll throw it in the alloy smelter and see if it doesn't make us some pulsating iron. It does, and this we need to wire mill, and because we have a 4 amp converter, and these only use 1 amp per, I think. Oh, this uses a half amp, and this doesn't use anything right now because it's not running. Oh, this uses almost nothing at this recipe, so we'll be fine with power. They can run at the same time. If we craft these pulsating iron wires up with some conduits, we should be able to make item conduits. Nice. And for good measure, I'll put it on round robin, so it fills them evenly. And you can see here, sugarcanes go in. 1 for input, 1 for output. We'll put them here. We'll instruct on blue and make it always active. I don't enjoy the feature they made where it pops up here. I much more enjoy it where you just had to click a couple of times and it would do the right thing. But it's not like that anymore, unfortunately. And this should be automated now. I don't know if we have some... We can do this copper. Throw it in. Yeah, it fills the furnaces evenly 4 bars at a time, and it should pull them out. It does not. Oh, we need to insert here on blue. Yeah, that's what happened. It inserted on brown and it just started filling it with sugarcane, which is not what we wanted. But we got copper here, which is nice. And if we smelt up some rubber wood, it should distribute it. Yeah, it does. And we should get coal pretty fast. Nice. And the last thing we will do is configure this to insert fuel into our power generation, so we won't have to do it manually. And we will of course also set this to round robin. And these are getting sugarcane now. Cool. That's really nice. So we have automated power. We have a couple of machines which we also can semi-automate. We have a smelting system, a sugarcane farm, and we are pretty much out of resources, so we'll have to go mining between episodes. But I feel like we made a lot of progress, and I also feel like this is a good place to stop the episode and keep going in the next one. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.